Join me today as we continue the construction of our Beachside Bungalow dollhouse. Alright, so our first job is going to be to put this cap and these guys on here. But the first thing before I glue them on, I want to make sure everything is level. I want to make sure these are going to go on correctly. So I've actually got out my level. And I double checked that yes, my dollhouse is sitting level. So that I know is fine. So then I'm going to use this piece because these would be really hard to use. I'm going to make sure each of the porch post caps will sit straight. And this is off just a tiny bit. I'm not sure if the camera is showing that. Let me see if I can get you in just a little bit closer. So I need to raise this up, or actually lower this corner. And I'm going to turn it this, you probably can't see that, but now it's way over. So that tells me this back side is off, and I can feel it here. So I've got some sandpaper, and I'm going to start sanding. And I'm going to sand it, and then after I sand it for a while, I'll put this back on, and I'll try it again. And I'm going to go back and forth on this post base until I get it level, so that no matter how I have this sitting, it's level. And then I'm actually going to go to both ends. I'm going to put it on this one and do the same process, and then on this one at this end and do the same process. That way I know that these are going to stand up straight when I put them onto the dollhouse porch. So that's my first job. I'm not going to make you sit through it. I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to get to work on this. Alright, I was able to get the two end post bases nice and level. The only one I couldn't get nice and level was this one. This one had quite an angle to it, but I can use a small piece of shingle as a shim, and it won't show. And just glue it here, and that's going to make this completely level then. So I'm going to glue that on and make sure it's sitting inside there. And then once that's dried, then I can come back and we can glue the cap on here and the two porch posts on to the ends. Alright, this next step I'm going to show you as much as I can on camera, but I'm going to have to turn the camera off so I can get in here and really measure, because this next step, if it's wrong, it's going to make your entire dollhouse roof crooked. So we are going to be gluing, I think I've got everything so that you can see it, all three of these on and testing with this pillar, because this is what supports our roof. This has to be lined up completely parallel to the front of your dollhouse. If this isn't parallel, your roof is not going to fit right. So I'm not using any super glue because of that. Also, these posts, let's see, there's the camera. There's a little notch. That notch has to face this way because we have these little trim pieces that are going to go in here and look like they're helping to support the roof. So that needs to be the right direction. So I'm going to put the first one on, show you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to actually turn the camera off, move it out of my way so I don't trip on it, and get this put together and measured. As soon as I have everything straight, I'll bring you back to show you how it looks, and then we'll let it dry. So I'm going to put glue on this base. And I know about where it needs to go because I have dry fit this probably a half dozen times. Now I'm putting a little bit excess glue on here that I can wipe off. Because there's a little extra glue, it will actually allow me to scoot that around a little bit better. Now I know this needs to be, from my dry fitting, I know it needs to be about 3 7/8 from the front of the house. Alright, now I need to turn the camera off and work on that end. I will be back when this is in place. All right, those are both glued on. Now I'm going to very carefully place this on here. And I'm going to measure from there. Right on my house, that's 4 3/8 of an inch from the house to the back of that strip. And now I'm on the other end, and I'm at the same, a little bit out. Now it's the same. Double check that end. This is really important that you get right. It's not hard, it's just a matter of being careful, measuring multiple times. All right, it's ready. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to make sure I get any glue that's dripping out of there. We're not going to glue this in place until later. Oh, we might as well glue this guy in place though. And since we've got the shim there, that'll sit nice. Make sure that's nice and straight. There. Now, and we just have to wait for the glue to dry. When the glue's dry, I'll be back and we'll put this piece on. All right, the glue on our posts has dried enough that I can go ahead and get my this piece on. I forget what this is called. And again, oh, sorry for the background noise there. My printer is, I just changed the ink in my printer and it's always so noisy when I do that. Now, once again, I've used more glue than I need. I can wipe away any extra, but by having a little extra glue there, I'm able to slide this around if I need to. So, I need to get my ruler. And I need to very carefully measure both ends to make sure that this is straight. Because we want to have this the same distance from the front of the house on both ends, and it is. So now I'm going to go get my paper towel damp. I'm going to wipe up any glue that's extra. When the glue dries, I'm going to touch up the paint on the top of these. And then when that's done, I'll come back and we'll go to the next step. All right, I'm not sure how well this is going to show up on the video. And this is totally a side jaunt that I'm taking on this project because I'm really bothered by these slots between the uprights on my banisters. I don't like this little area down here. It's driving me nuts. Every time I look at this, that's the first place my eye goes. And I don't want that to be the first place my eye goes. So I've got some caulking. And this is going to take me a while. I already did the other end of the porch and I like how it turned out. So what I'm going to do, and I've tried several ways, this seems to be my quickest way of doing this. I'm going to put a little dab in here. I'll do 2 on video and the rest of them I'll do off camera because this is one of those where I'm just going to turn on Spotify on my phone and put it on the Bluetooth speaker and sit here and listen to music and fill these holes because I don't like the holes, I don't like the wood showing through, but in my opinion that looks so much better. Then I can smooth it out. I had a little piece of wood here I was using, I'll have to find it, but that can be all smoothed out. Then I can put a coat of paint over it and that's going to close that off and look so much better. So I am going to turn the camera off and I am going to work on all of those little holes for what will probably feel like forever, and then I'll be back and show you how it looks when it's all done and repainted. All right, all those little distracting holes have been filled and the railings have been repainted and it looks so much better. It's not perfect. I may go back and do a little more, but it doesn't catch my eye every time I glance at the dollhouse anymore. So let's go on to our next step. All right, now we're going to do the step I've been putting off for a while. We're going to put the dormers together. I don't know why I keep picking this up to put it together and then laying it back down and saying, no, I'm going to do it later. It's time to jump in and do this because we need this assembled before we can assemble it onto the house, which will come, I'm assuming, pretty soon after we put the roof on, which I think is what's coming up next. So let's look at what we've got. We have the dormer front. Oops, my glasses are laying there. Dormer front, and then the two sides. Now, one thing that we need to do, instructions are clear that the first thing to do is to get some tape and put it here so that you are ready to get these sides taped on as soon as the glue is on there. Let's put that one down so it's parallel. Now, you do need to be careful that you are keeping everything laid together the right direction. It's going to go like this. So, when we turn it, this side will go here, and this side will go here, making sure your siding is going the right direction. Now, this angle needs to line up here. This needs to line up here. And of course, your sides need to line up correctly, like this. So I'm dry fitting. Actually going to put my glasses on and stand up. The other thing we need is we need our two little, what are these called? Handy squares. Because those are going to help us get this position correctly. We don't want this to be tipped at all. It needs to be put together completely straight. So let me dry fit this again. Lining that side up, lining this up. Feeling that those are right, and then that's going to be correct. So, time to stand up to do this. I've got my two glues. Hopefully my super glue has not, yeah, it's working. My super glue's been having a really bad habit of closing on me, filling up with glue. Come on. I forgot to turn this upside down before I turn the camera on. I'm going to turn the camera off and wait for my glue to come to the top, and then I'll be right back. All right, I think I've got glue where I want it now. I'm going to leave a few spots for the glue to spread out, and also a few spots for, will allow me places to put my super glue. If you've been following my channel, you know two glue method, you know why we do this. Now, make sure you're completely lined up. You want everything to be where it goes. Pull that tape up. And now, get this one set up. Then we can get our handy squares in and some more masking tape. I'm attempting to keep this under the camera and not put my head in the way. I'll find out when I edit the video how well I did. But since there's only one shot at this, you get what you get, unfortunately. It's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. I can't really go back and reshoot when I'm gluing things together. It doesn't work that way. Okay, I don't want to accidentally glue that, so there. Put a piece of parchment paper there because the glue did seep out, and where I wiped it up, it might grab onto that handy square, and I don't want that to happen. Let's see. Put you way up there. Making sure every step of the way that you are double checking those edges, like mine has drifted here a little bit. As soon as I get this taped to here, I'm going to do that. And now this just needs to sit until the glue dries. So I will keep checking it over the next 15-20 minutes, every couple, like every 5 minutes or so for the next 15-20 minutes. I'll come make sure it's still sitting the way I want it to. And then I'll just let it dry in peace and quiet here until the glue's set, and then we'll be back and see how it looks. All right, so it's sat overnight. I already took those other pieces off. But this looks really good. So now this will be ready to install on our roof when we get to that point. So there's one more thing we're going to do this week, and then we're going to call it a day. And we are going to continue next week by putting the roof on. So let me move the camera, and we're going to cut some trim for the side of the house. Before we do the other thing we need to do today, I just wanted to show you where we painted this last week. There's a little bit of edge, and what I did is I just ran a piece of sandpaper along it, evens it off just fine. So now let me see if I can do the camera without making everybody sick to their stomachs. All right, so we need to cut the trim that's going to go on the sides of the roof, or the sides of the house. We're going to have pieces that are going to go here. Now, we're not going to put these on yet, and I'm actually not going to do my trim exactly the way they do, but I'm still going to cut these now, because once the roof is on, it's going to be pretty much impossible to get this cut correctly. So all you do, line it up here and mark it. And I'm only going to do one side today, do one side for you on camera, and then I'm going to do the rest of the other side off camera. So I've got one marked there. Now I go to the back of the house, which you can't see. I'm not sure. See if I can get you up just a little bit. Sorry about that. This house is getting big. So keep it lined up. But we want to get this marked before the roof goes on so we can get these angles correct. All right, let me turn the camera off to get you oriented down to the table again. All right, I have my two pieces of trim. There's two more for the other side. I am going to trim these today, and then I'll have them ready for when we put the trim on. And like I said, I'm changing how the trim is done. I'm just going to add to the trim that comes with the kit. Now, I've seen a lot of DIYers on YouTube in the last couple of months using scissors to cut both wood like this and even craft sticks. Don't do it. Buy proper tools. One of these kits like this, little razor saw and miter box from X-Acto, or one of the shears like this. It's made for cutting wood. These are so much cheaper than going to the emergency room when your pair of scissors fails and you get hurt really badly. So please don't do that. Now just I'm just lining up my pencil line with the cutting line on here. Fingers well back. See how easy that is? It works so well. Now where is the line? This one is right here. Now off camera, I'll go ahead and get the other two cut. I'll mark them. I'm just going to use a pencil and I'm going to write what they are on the back side. Put a rubber band around them and keep them with the rest of the pieces that I'm saving. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you've picked up some tips. Next week we're going to put the roof panels on. So that sounds like a lot of fun. If you have any questions, be sure and post them. If you haven't found the Facebook group, I invite you to come over. The link should be in the description box. Come over, like the page. That's where you get the most up-to-date information. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so and hit that notification bell so that you'll know whenever I put up a video. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Our beachside bungalow is really starting to take shape. Stay tuned and see what we got done on it this week.